Well, welcome to the Spanish version of the sportsbet.io Euro podcast. We're going to look ahead to all of the La Liga action. Now, before we get going, a small disclaimer. We're recording this on Wednesday morning, and Barcelona, of course, are in action before the Saturday trip to Osasuna. So we do have to put that little disclaimer in. For what it's worth, I think they win that game anyway. But we're, of course, going to get Juan Castro, our good old friend over in Spain's opinion on what else is going on. One thing that isn't going to change for Barcelona in the next couple of days anyway is a bit of an injury crisis. Now, they're obviously bringing in Wojciech Szczęsny from the look of it at the moment, Juan. And all of that early season positivity for Barcelona, all the great goals they were scoring, the great football they were playing this last week, including, I suppose, to a certain extent, the loss to Monaco, has just made things a little bit less certain, perhaps, for Hansi Flick.
Yeah, the way is not going to be so easy, let's say. I mean, with the Monaco defeat and also the injury from Mark ter Stegen, his captain. So I think the difficult times coming because Peña, the other keeper, I think has no the confidence of the club. So we will see what happens in this sense. But it's true that now things are not so easy in Camp Barça, and the Osasuna visit is quite dangerous. It's used to be a very dangerous stadium for the big teams, and we will see what happens, but no easy way for Barca this weekend.
And again, it's a shame because he started so well, but we spoke at the start of the season about Dani Olmo struggling to stay fit an awful lot as well, which is another issue that Hansi Flick's going to have to deal with. I don't think... we're not looking at the same kind of layoff for Olmo as we are with ter Stegen, who's had the knee surgery this week, but again, just another injury. When you're sort of Hansi Flick, you're up against it a little bit with this number of injuries at the moment. But that's what happens when you buy a great player who's injured a lot, I suppose.
Yeah, also, I mean, Gavi is still injured. He's coming back before Christmas time. But, I think this is going to be quite normal in all the big teams. You can see also Real Madrid has a lot of injuries. But I think Hansi Flick has to deal with that. Gavi is coming back. Maybe that's good news for them. But the Mark ter Stegen and Daniel are two very big injuries for them.
Having said all of this, obviously they are playing Wednesday night Barcelona. They did absolutely batter a Villarreal side who've had a very good start to the season. That impressive 5-1 victory.
What a victory! I mean, not only the big of the amount of goals they score, but the style of playing. So very attractive game, always offensive, with the extraordinary Lamine Yamal, which is incredible. Was incredible? What is he doing with 17 years old? And again, Lewandowski. I mean, 6 goals already. Only Mbappe have 5 goals. Is a bit close. But I think here in Spain, anybody expect this new goodness of Robert Lewandowski with so many goals in this beginning of the season.
Do you think they win at the El Sadar? I mean, Vicente Moreno will be very happy with the start of the season his side have had.
Who, sorry?
Vicente Moreno, the Osasuna manager.
Okay. No, Vicente Moreno is, I think they are trying to protect at home a lot. So they want to at least drop 1 point against the big teams at home. And I think they can do it. I think Vicente Moreno is a very experimented coach. He's very well rated here in Spain. And I think they can do it, at least a draw against Barcelona in this weekend.
It's going to be interesting. And also, you can tell the Spaniard and the man who's trying to do a Spanish accent because I completely confused one there with my pronunciation of his name. So I'll keep learning and I'll keep trying and I'll keep the lessons up. 1.46, by the way, Barcelona to win that game. But of course, again, they play Wednesday night. I think they'll win both, if I'm absolutely honest with you. But just as we were saying, a bit more question marks, should we say, over Barcelona at the moment. One side I've got question marks over is Sevilla. Now, they travel to Athletic Bilbao. Obviously, Bilbao have got that game in the Europa League as well, away at the Stadio Olimpico against Roma, so we have to factor that in. But Bilbao, obviously a brilliant start to the season, scoring plenty of goals. Sevilla, though, let's start there because they've confused quite a lot of people. Garcia Pimienta, and I'm now very, very scared about my pronunciation of any of these names. Garcia Pimienta has signed a new deal, or at least an extended contract, which is weird.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, we heard that yesterday, and we heard this week, and it was incredible because it was the first victory of Sevilla, and then like 2 hours later, he was renewed. So what's happened here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's let's say was the big news in football in this week in Spain, because it was incredible. You can notice how the staff of Sevilla is doing things, with any real sense, any real common sense. And now the coach is renewed till 27, so it's amazing, really amazing. Saying that, I wouldn't affirm, I wouldn't make sure that Garcia Pimienta will continue till the end of this season. No. So you can imagine how things are in Sevilla. And in Bilbao, I think Athletic it's quite favorite. And I think one point very important, Iñaki Williams is doing even better than Nico Williams, his brother, in this beginning of the season.
He's getting so many assists, isn't he, at the moment, Iñaki Williams? And that's really big boost for this home side because, there's a lot of understandable focus on one of the brothers, but to have the first brother, shall we say, sort of come back into this level of form, the way they're scoring goals, and with Sevilla looking very strange, I think Athletic Bilbao win very, very comfortably in this game.
Yes, I agree with you. I think Athletic Bilbao can have an easy night, let's say, against Sevilla, but because these things, in opposite way that they pretend, this renew of the coach, I think is creating a bad ambience in Sevilla, in the opposite that should be. And they travel with that to Bilbao, and I think Athletic has an easy match this weekend.
I think, as Juan has said there, if you are struggling in the way that Sevilla are, you finally get to win, and your response to that is to give your manager an extension. There is a lot going on at your club that you probably need to sort out fairly sharpish. I want to talk in depth today, really, about the big game of the weekend. Now, obviously, in Germany, we have Bayern Munich against Bayer Leverkusen, which is possibly the best game in Europe this weekend. However, there is another game coming up this weekend, Juan, in Madrid, which looks like quite an interesting affair. Atletico Madrid taking on Real Madrid. Now, Atletico, of course, they take on Celta Vigo before this game at the weekend. So, again, do factor that in. But let's talk here. Atletico Madrid off the back of possibly their first disappointing result of the season, that 1-1 draw at Rayo Vallecano?
Yes, people is really disappointed. We will see what has happened against Celta, but watch out, because if there is another draw or whatever in Vigo, I think they can have a really difficult match against Real Madrid, because they dropped a lot of points already. And they need these 3 points against Real Madrid. I can tell you one thing: Real Madrid has not lost in La Liga since 1 year ago, more or less, and it was in Metropolitano Stadium against Atletico. It was the same situation it is the same situation than last year. So I think Real always suffer in Metropolitano with the ambience, because it's the most hated team in the other Madrid stadium. So I will say that in normal conditions, Real Madrid is favorite, but Atletico, can make it on Sunday.
It's really interesting. I mean, you look at Real Madrid, we're off the back of that game at home against Alaves, which was for us last night. 3-0 up, very comfortable. Carlo Ancelotti will not be very happy with those last 5 or so minutes, though, will he? Those 2 goals conceded late on to Alaves.
Yeah, I mean, they suffer without any necessity, let's say. We suffered in an unnecessary way, because they were making a good match at 3-0, and then 2 goals conceded in the last minutes. And not only that, Endrick had to be sent off. It was not. And even Vinicius risked a second yellow card, which was really stupid. He was protesting the whole time, and at the end, he saved this second yellow card. He will play the derby, but there is a strange ambience in the sense that they protest a lot, not only Vinicius. And today in the press, there were some people saying that they are protesting so much. So of course, easy games against Alaves, but Ancelotti was not happy with the last minutes against them.
Could some of that be about how young those players are? The likes of Endrick and Vinicius. Some of that is a little bit of that petulant youth that perhaps needs to be just kind of worked out of them.
I mean, in the case of Hendricks, yes, it was stupid. This, this head, I don't know, this kick to the other player, to Mourinho, the player of the Alaves player. It was really stupid. But in the case of Vinicius, no, it's not a question of age. It's that Vinicius is like that. I talked with the people really close to Vinicius, and they told me, and we are talking a lot to him. We talk every day. Don't do that. Don't protest like this. But he's like this. Once he is on the field, he's like this. It's quite difficult to change this situation, and it's not a question of age, I think.
Yeah, so it's age with one and perhaps personality with another, and either way, you've got to work it out of both of them at some point. And every now and again, there's nothing wrong with having a player who's a little bit edgy. You think back to the likes of Wayne Rooney, who was obviously a genius in England, and he was always a little bit petulant. And actually, as he got less petulant in his career, he actually got worse. So it's quite interesting in terms of what you try and take out or keep in of a player. For Diego Simeone, I mean, he'll be delighted with some of the performance of his signings, including, in fact, English player Conor Gallagher, who's settled in really nicely and has now been scoring some goals.
Yeah, I told you always that Gallagher was going to be like a little Simeone in the field, and he's doing. But people is really here in Madrid, Atletico Madrid people is really happy with him, but because he's not only doing what he's supposed to do, like to fight a lot, to this other football that Simeone wants for his players, but he's also scoring. So people is really happy, and I can guess that he will be like very important player for Simeone, and that still already Metropolitano loves him.
Yeah. Yeah, what's it like in Madrid on a derby weekend? Is it just on the day where it all starts to kind of pop, or is there a couple of days before where you can start to feel the build up in and around the city?
Of course, from tomorrow on, from Thursday, the derby will be live here in the media, in the bars, in the families. Of course, later on in the stadium. I think it's a very special game here in Madrid. Some activities are doing around Metropolitano. So I will say also that for Atletico Madrid people, of course, is more important than for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
For Real Madrid fans, is more important the Clásico, of course. But for Atletico, they are focused on the derby. I can tell you one thing: last year they won, they beat Real Madrid at home, and they were happy for the rest of the season. It doesn't matter if they were third or fourth; they were happy for the rest of the season. So I think it's quite incredible and a bit stupid because at the end it's only one game.
I'm going to ask you to give me a score. What do you think the score is going to be?
I will predict 2-2.
2-2. Well, then we're in for an absolute cracker, aren't we, in the Madrid derby this weekend. Juan, thank you, as always, for your fantastic expertise. We'll hear from Juan ahead of the next round of La Liga. But it's a brilliant, brilliant week of fixtures across most of Europe, actually. And this is one of the top couple, Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid.